Thanks, Brian. Thanks for coming today. We've been doing these for a few years now, and I appreciate the support we get from the media and all the stuff that you do, and certainly want to cooperate with you guys anytime you need us. We're always available at practice time or on the phone, whatever you need. We really want to let you know that that's not a problem with us. Don't feel you can't ever call us or be a part of us. And thanks some of the fans that have come out. I've seen a few of you guys for a lot of years, PJ and Kenny. And Kenny's back for my 25th year of coaching. Kenny's back for his 25th year of coaching with me. So he just does it from across the court. We've been going, really our season I think started last March for this year. We were not eligible for the playoffs, so our season ended pretty early last year. I think it was February 25th we played our last game. We basically started that next week. We're allowed to have 2 hours a week practice with your teams through the whole spring, and that rule continued through the summer. It was an NCAA rule change that you could be with your team for 2 hours a week for 8 weeks in the summer. We did that the whole time, and then we went to Canada in August, which allowed us to have 10 more full-time practices before we went up there, and we went up there and had a scrimmage and 2 exhibition games. So I certainly feel our program is ahead of where it would have been without all those changes and stuff, which we really needed, because we're obviously just finished that transition. We're building this program, and I think we're doing it the right way. It's just been a long haul. The transition thing went as well as I think we could have hoped it did. A couple setbacks in it that I think stopped our progress a little bit. A year ago, Jake Thomas transferred to Marquette, and losing him really was hard to replace. We really were unable to replace him. It was a great shooter and stuff, and that set us back a little bit. And as we continued with our recruiting this year, trying to get the kids in, the level of kid that we think we have to move along in this process, we just suffered another setback in Tyler Larson tore his ACL on Saturday. And he was a kid that we were going to count on an awful lot because we needed to get a little bit bigger at the guard spot, a little more athletic at the guard spot, and he brought all of that. He certainly was our best rebounding defensive guard. So just those are some bumps in the road in this whole transition that you're trying to deal with, and you kind of have that in basketball all the time. I don't know if we've ever gotten through too many seasons where everyone was in perfect health from beginning to end, and that tests the depth of your team. So you have to overcome that. Obviously, when someone goes out, another player steps into that role and has a chance to have more minutes and produce a little bit there, and also along with that, the other players also have to step up a little bit. But I really thought we had to improve in every aspect of our program from a year ago. We must be a better defensive team. We must be a better rebounding team. We had some very unbalanced offensive situations last year. We relied on 2 players to not only do all the scoring for us, but they took the majority of the shots. And we got away from what I think USD basketball has always been, where we had a lot of guys that played and played well, and were able to have 5, 6, 7 guys at times in double figures, and then we spread that scoring around. And I thought it made us a lot harder to guard, and we just got away from that last year. And hopefully we can get back to that this year, get a little more balance inside and more guys scoring, and get some bench play that'll improve a little bit. And I like the group that we have. It's just been that roster thing is a process. I think the league that we're playing in, the Summit League, isn't a league that you can just join and rush to the top. Some of those teams are very established in there with the Oaklands, and obviously South Dakota State having as good a program as they've had for a long time, basketball team-wise, is outstanding. North Dakota State, so I don't want to refer that we're always catching up, but it isn't something that you can just jump in and have all the answers. And we're learning what we have to do. I think we're going to build this thing the right way. It always starts with getting the right kids in the program, getting as many kids in the program as you can. So recruiting, the most difficult thing I thought in the transition was just the recruiting part, getting kids to come here knowing they weren't going to play in that tournament ever. And that's done now. I thought, without having to answer that question this last year, we did have our best recruiting class since we've done this. And I think we need to keep adding to that, and I think we're doing that. We have a couple kids sitting out this year that'll play next year, are going to be positive contributors, and we still have 2 scholarships to offer for this upcoming year. So if we can finish that out, I think it's going to go pretty well. The Canada deal was a good deal. We played 2 teams up there that would be, I would compare them to more on the Division II level program thing, and we played well in both those games. Javal Miles played well for us, our new guy, and I'll get into the players a little bit more, but that just really set the tone. And we've had a good fall, had a lot of practices already. Even though it's 2 hours, we would go 4 days a week for just 30 minutes. But it's amazing how much you can get done when you have access to your players every day. And you can work on little things, a lot more teaching time, and it just really was a good thing. And I think the NCAA and the coaches will keep going back to this, and I'm not so sure next year you might see 5 hours a week. They'll just keep adding to it. Coaches want all that time, and they keep begging for it and stuff. And the more time we have with our guys, the better I think it is. Access to your players is a good thing. This year, getting into our non-conference schedule, we have 12 home games this year and 17 that'll be on the road, 2 of those being neutral games when we open up in Wyoming in a couple of weeks. So we're really on the top end, heavy on that road situation, and that's something we're trying to address. It's difficult to get that done. That's never going to be where we're going to have 17 home games and only 12 road games. But if we can get that closer to 14 home, 15 road, that's what our goal is and what we're trying to get. And over the next few years, I think we'll get closer and closer to that. But we're going to have a very good non-conference schedule. We're going to play 3 programs that everyone knows an awful lot about, with Iowa down there on December 4th, and we play Kansas State on New Year's Eve, and then obviously Gonzaga coming up here on the 18th. Those are really, really good programs. Gonzaga is obviously a top 20 program and been in the NCAA tournament quite a bit over the years. And Kansas State, we played them, I think, 2 years ago or 2 or 3 years ago, and obviously they're a big time program. So those are going to highlight our non-conference things, but we've got some excellent other ones in there too. I think Wyoming out there is a difficult game. Ball State's a very quality program. We're going to play them twice, home and home. And we've been able to get a couple of those. We're going to play Wisconsin Green Bay. We go there this year, but they're coming back here next year. We get Morehead State back here at home, and we played at their place last year. And that will be the 3rd year of a 4-year contract that we signed with them. So we're starting to get a few of those in there. If we can get more, that's really going to help us. But it's going to be a challenging non-conference schedule. Hopefully what it's going to do is not only prepare us for this year, I think it sets up your program as we move through this. Our big goal right now is we're trying to become a very competitive Division I program. A lot of things to learn, a lot of adjustments we have to make. But if you're not going to play a bunch of good people to find out how to do that, I don't think we're going to get there. So we're challenging our kids with that schedule. The record is going to be interesting to see what we can come up with that. But if this schedule doesn't get you ready for the Summit League, I'm not sure what else we could do. I found out right away that Summit League is very good. I think from the outside looking in, which we did the previous years, you really never fully understand how good it is till you get in it. And you are playing those teams night in and night out. And we found out right away that is a good basketball league, a very high-scoring basketball league. Trying to guard some of those kids was a big challenge for us, and I think as we add better athletes and get a little bit better there, that we'll start meeting that challenge a little bit better. But that's going to be a good challenge for us. So there's 9 teams in it right now, and I can guarantee you we're going to be playing in Sioux Falls in March. I'll make that promise to you. They take 8, and UNO's not eligible, so we're in. But we're looking forward to that. I hope when we get there that our team has improved. How we're going to be in November is certainly not going to be the way we're going to be in March. I think this group has a chance to get better. We're going to play some freshmen. I think they're going to get better as the year goes on. I think all the guys we have back from a year ago have all gotten better. I think they'll have better years. So that's our goal. And we want to carry it through this year into next year and just keep building this thing and get some momentum. We have to get going. This isn't a process I want to take forever to do. I want this quickly. I want us to be competitive. Right from the get-go. We need to win basketball games. There's no doubt about that. That 10-18 is not going to cut it for anybody. That's not what we're about. The bar was set low for us last year by the media and where the coaches were where they picked us, and we did a great job of meeting those expectations. We didn't fool anybody. We were right down in that bottom, and we struggled in a lot of games. And the last month, I thought we played better basketball in February. We had some good wins there and stuff, and now we got to start over a little bit. But so the kids coming back. We've got 5 kids that did get some playing time for us last year, led by Trevor Gruis. I think he'll have a good year for us. He's gotten better. He's played a lot of minutes for us. If you look at his stats, this kid is a kid who started for us as a freshman, now getting into his junior year. And my experience over all these years has been you get the best years out of kids who are juniors and seniors. They all have their growing up pains as freshmen, and then you hope they have pretty good sophomore years. But you expect them to play well as juniors and seniors. And I'm expecting Trevor to carry the load for us a little bit inside this year. He needs to improve as a defensive rebounder, a more consistent offensive player, and some leadership there. He's one of our captains and stuff, and I think he can grow in that area. Steven Tecker started a little bit for us last year. He's coming off a concussion. He was out for a week plus there, and he just got back into practice this week. But we use him at a few different positions. He's kind of a versatile kid that can play a number of them, and he has a little bit of experience for us. Jordan Booth played in every game last year, and he's got a little experience there. Brandon Voss got into a few games last year, and hopefully he can contribute a little bit more. And Jared Barling got into a few games for us last year. So that's the group that's back. We need those guys to have a little bit of leadership for us and play really well. They need to step up their game a little bit. Adding to that is a big group. One of the bigger classes, bigger groups that we brought in, certainly since we started this Division I thing, but Javal Miles is an experienced kid, age-wise, basketball-wise, a little inexperienced. He played 1 year of junior college, then attended K-State and played very little there and spent the year just practicing with us last year. So he doesn't have a lot of games under his belt. He will be our starting point guard. Physically, he's a very good player. He's a strong guard. He defends okay, good three-point shooter, good scorer. We need him to fill in that role, but we're going to ask him to do a lot of things for us. Along with that, Kareem Ralston is another transfer, about a 6'4", 6'5" kid, very athletic player. I think is a big addition to us. He's right now will probably be in the starting lineup on opening day, but we're going to ask him to do a lot. He's a good scorer. He can rebound. I think he can defend and add a lot to us that way. He's one of the more athletic kids that we brought in, one of the type of players that we're looking for to improve our athleticism. And I mentioned Tyler Larson. He's really a good kid. It's going to be really hard on him. Anytime a player, and I'm sure Amy will talk to you about all the injuries she has, it is devastating for those kids to have those things happen. I mean, basketball is so important to these kids at this age and in the time of their life that it's really hard for them to deal with mentally. Physically, he'll have some surgery and he'll go through a long rehab and be able to play for the 2 seasons after that. But to deal with this and think his world is coming to an end, we're going to help him with that a little bit. But it's a good loss, a big loss for us. We can't overcome that. Basketball is one thing that you don't have that many guys. And when you start losing a quality player here and there, it has a big effect on you right away, short-term, long-term. It's hard to overcome those, but we're going to support him, and hopefully that he comes back and can play for us for the next 2 years. Our 3 freshmen we're really excited about. I think it's a tremendous class. Casey Kasperbauer is a freshman from Carroll, Iowa. About a 6'2" player, an outstanding shooter. He's demonstrated that through his whole high school career. In the 4 years that he played at Carroll, he was an all-state level player all the time. He never shot under 50% from threes, and he's been outstanding in our early practices. And at this point in time, he's probably going to open up as our starting 2 guard. But an excellent shooter, and we're going to need him to do that all the way through the year. Eric Robertson's a 6'7" kid. Out of Wayzata, Minnesota, a very versatile kid, has some good skills. He can shoot the basketball for a big kid, plays pretty hard, good rebounder, really good fundamentally. He's going to play a lot. I'm not going to redshirt any of the 3 freshmen. Tyler Flack, I think, has a chance to be as good as we've had here in a long time. Raw player, a very athletic player. He's the best jumping big kid we've ever recruited. I mean, his from the ground to the height of his jump is very quick. He'll be a player, I think, will be an exciting player to watch. He's going to make a lot of mistakes, as all those freshmen do. And we're going to have to grow with them a little bit. That's part of our process. But we're going to throw them in there. They're going to sink at times, and they're going to swim at times. And we're going to have to live with that. But I think it's the right way for us to go to build this program to where we need it to be in the upcoming years that are ahead of us. And that. But it looks like right now, if we started next in our first game, I would start 2 freshmen. Tyler Flack and Casey Casper are probably both going to be in there. We do feel we have 10 guys that can play and contribute. So that depth, I think, is there. But along with that, everyone has to play well and keep earning that time. So we have to mix that in there a little bit. And you'll see a lot of different lineups by us as we go through the year. And that starting lineup isn't etched in stone. You can always change that, especially if we're playing some teams that we feel we might want to try to be bigger at, and we'll be pretty flexible with that. But I do like these kids. They're a hard-working group. They just have to win. And no one knows that more than I do. I've done this long enough that when you're not losing and you create that culture of losing, you don't stop that very quickly. And the way you stop that is you got to demand and make those players be accountable for things. You got to recruit. You got to add players every year that we're in this process. I will mention the two kids that we have sitting out. Trey Norris is a point guard from North Texas University. It was an outstanding player. It was one of our high targets a year ago that we did not get. He ended up signing with North Texas, but he's a very quick player, one of the outstanding point guards, and he's going to have a nice impact on us. Then Adam Thosby is a transfer from Utah State, a 6'5", 2-guard. He's a very good offensive player and getting to be a better defender in that. So those two kids are practicing every day, and they will have 3 years to play. So our sophomore class, you combine our 3 freshmen this year with those two, we're going to have an outstanding sophomore class that's going to lead this program for those 3 years. Plus, we're going to add, we already have a freshman commitment that we'll sign in November, and then we have one more scholarship to go. So we have youth. I'm excited about where we're going with this. It's been a good situation, a lot of fun, a lot of changes. We play some great teams. We need our fans to get more involved. We're asking that. We're pleading with the students to get behind this team. Even when we're not playing good, we need you there. Grow with this team. Don't come on board once we get it going. Be there right from the beginning. And I would ask all the fans and media, if you watch this team from beginning to end and you watch them closely, you'll see this team compete. They'll play hard, and they'll have their struggles. And hopefully they'll have some good wins along the way, too, and we're just going to keep building this thing. But we've got a great coaching staff. Coach James is here. Has been his 10th year with me. He's starting to feel like he's my own kid. I've been around him for so long. Coach Casson, Chris is, I think, starting his 9th year. Same thing. Both were in my program as players and stuff and do a terrific job. And we do have a new addition. Lloyd Williams is our 3rd and new assistant. And as you will all find out pretty quickly, it's Amy's husband. So we got a nice thing going with the Williams family and the USD coaching fraternity. And Lloyd's been a great addition. He's going to do an outstanding job for us and been a head coach. He's brought some of that to me, helping me with that. Another guy to relate to a little bit. So nice staff. Really proud of those guys and everything that they do. And Karim Relson and Casey Kasperbar are both here, so they'll be available for you to talk to and that. But I'll open up to any questions that anyone has.
All right, Coach Boots. Can you hear me? Okay. Coach, can you tell us a little bit about your captains, who they are and what they bring?
Our 3 captains are Javal Miles, Trevor Gruss, and Jordan Boots.
Dave, apart from the inexperience and developing the chemistry on the good days, what are the things that your team is probably still going to maybe struggle with in the league? Are there some weaknesses that you're going to have to overcome aside from inexperience?
Well, I'm sure outside of the 1 or 2 teams in our league, everyone has some weaknesses and stuff, and we certainly have our share. We have to defend better than we did a year ago. I thought that was a bit of a problem, but I think we've added some kids that will allow us to do that. Our biggest struggle last year was on the offensive end. We did not score enough consistently throughout the whole season, and certainly not from throughout each game. And we had 2 guys that did a ton of scoring for us, and we just didn't have enough people involved. We have to get these new guys to all buy into that, the returners buy into that, and we just have to share that basketball a little bit more this year and that. And if we can overcome that, take that from a weakness of a year ago and build it a little bit this year, that's the biggest area I'm concerned about. Can we score more? We had a lot of games, and we were in 40s, 50s for a good part of those games, and we had a few games where we did a nice job with it, but not night in and night out. So consistency on that end is hard. I think you can get a little more consistent defensively with the basketball team, but you got to be pretty good offensively. You got to score, have a lot of guys do it, have an inside game, perimeter game, kids who can shoot, guys who can attack the basket. You really have to be complete. We're a little more complete than we were a year ago. We're not there all the way yet. But I think if we keep working on it from beginning to the end, we'll get a lot better in that area.
Coach, you mentioned Trevor Gruss. How does the depth look behind him down the post?
Well, Jared Barling has been with us for 2 years now, and he's had a good good off-season, I think. Hopefully he can come in and bring some of the physicalness that he has. Jared has to carry it into the game situation. He practices fine, but he's got to, when he gets in the games, perform a little bit better, and we'll see if he can step up and do that. But we'll play him there, Eric Robertson. We have 4 big kids with Trevor, Flack, Robertson, and Jared. That's what we're sitting at right now, and that should be enough as long as we have no injuries there. Those are 4 quality players. I think 2 of them are going to get better as we go through it. We're asking one who's played a lot of minutes to be outstanding, and another kid who's been in our program for 2 years to make some contributions.
Coach, it's your son, Jordan Boots. It's his final year at USD. Can you tell us what it's been like coaching him throughout the years and what it kind of means for it to be his senior year?
Well, I think any father would tell you it's a privilege to be able to have your son play for you, and it's been outstanding. I don't know if I could ask any more of it. I've had him with me at least 4 years. He redshirted in that, and I'd like him to finally graduate so I can get that part done. But he's got all this year and then a year of student teaching yet with his special ed and elementary ed thing. It's been no problem. It's been a fantastic. The only hard thing is when I go home, I got to listen to his mother yell at me about it. So. Other than that, it's been pretty good. Hey, in closing, then, I just, again, thank all of you for doing it, and I certainly want to recognize David Saylor, David Herbster, and James Bandy. These are the guys behind the scenes that are really making an impact for us. They've been great leaders in this transition thing. President Abbott, we couldn't have a better president than we have in him, and their vision that they have with our new arena coming up, it's a great time to be in this program, believe me. Coaching this program and having those guys to work with, and they want us to do as well as we want to. And I don't think you can ever be successful unless you have a lot of people around you that want you to be successful. And my hats off to those guys for giving us the leadership that they're giving us and the direction they're going to take this program, and we're really pleased to have them in place. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Next, we have